Hi, we're at the West Stafford Library learning to draw dragons today. And today I have started on a dragon right here. I about finished his face, but I'll show you how to do it from the beginning. Okay, let's see. First we want to just get the general description of his head. And that you just draw out the line. And you can draw any kind of dragon you want. We have many wonderful drawing books here with dragons. And also fairies and anything else you can think of, animals. So I start with drawing the outline of the shape of what I want to draw and put in the details later on. And you can do that. I'm going to start with his eye. And I like to give him one of them little eyes like that. Here we go. Get his ears in. And his nose. And his little fangs. Or her. She could be a girl dragon. You can make any kind of dragon you want. Now, I'm going to start putting in the details. His eyes. I like to start with the eyes first. I hope you can hear me. I have my mask on and it's like muffles my voice. And we want to give him little scales. Here we go. I'm going to work on the mouth. I'm going back, work on the eye. I want the eye nice and dark, so I press harder on my pencil to make it darker. And don't be afraid to erase. You can erase all you want. Don't be afraid to make mistakes. I'm going to make the eye more distinguished. Some little scales and some little eyelashes. And work on the nose. And I'm going back around the eye again. Give them some. And you don't have to, you can, I'm going to give them little, what looks like little bumps, but they're his scales instead of a straight line. So I'll outline them in that. Get his jaw in there. There's one tooth. Now, being I did him sideways, he's going to have a little bit of an eye right here. I'll put little shading in there. And we'll learn to do shading today also. It'll help make your picture pop. I want to put a little bit more scales on. I'm sorry if I'm going too fast. Okay, take your time. Now his spikes, let's see. If you just want to draw his head, that's fine too. Or you can do the whole body. I'll teach you how to do the whole body today. And his part of his neck. And here's the rest of his body. And let me put this in to make it look more distinct so you can see it better. Now there, I made a little mistake, so I'm going to erase it. I'm going to erase my mistake and then go over. There we go, a little more detailing in his face. There goes his spikes right here. We got them in. You can shade them to make them look two-dimensional by going like this. And it depends what kind of dragon you want to draw. If you want to make them with one spike, two spikes, it doesn't matter. He doesn't have to have 5 of them. It can be your very own creation. I put that there to make it look. Then a little shading. I'm going to do his ear a little bit better. Okay, let's see. See his neck. Now we're getting to his body. I hope you can hear me good, because these masks really muffle everything. Now we have his wings. We want to get his wings in. And it depends what kind of wings you want for your dragon. I went for bat wings. You can get your ideas out of looking at other animals, like bats and lizards. Lizards are good to look at. And if you have a pet lizard, that's even better, because you can get ideas from him. I'll work on the wing. I'll put the wing's veins in there. And get the rest of his body in. And that's part of his tail, which we will do a little later. And get his little... Now for his other wing. And then after that, we'll do some shading. And his tail, which will go behind the one wing and behind his head. There we go. Okay, now we'll put a line right here to show the muscles in his neck. And we'll do these. Okay, are we seeing his wings? Okay, I started to shade on this one side of his wing, the one wing. You can see the unshaded wing, which is just drawn, in the other wing. Let me erase a little more. I made some mistakes too. Now we'll just do the bumpies, or just these lines down his neck, to give him a roundedness so he doesn't look flat. And then we'll shade. Just take your pencil and just shade. You can just start light and you can get darker if you like. Also, there's something called cross hatching. You go this one way, then you go another, which gives you a good shadow for his neck. So he's starting to look three-dimensional. And you can cross hatch down the side. We want to make them look rounded. His necks are round. Now we'll get some more scales in there. See, I got some scales on his face. And as you can see, his eye, I shaded in the eye to make it look pop so you can see it. There we go. There's his eye. And there's his nose, which was shaded in also. I'll shade it in a little bit darker, so I'll press harder. Okay, let's see where we're going with this. I'm trying to get these three-dimensional again. Got that. And we got his tail. I put some spikes on his tail. Okay, let me finish his one leg. Let's see the leg right here, his legs. There we go. As I said before, you can just do the head, or if you want to make a little tiny baby dragon, that's good too. Now let's look at the wing. We got the veins. Let's shade them in to make the wing look more. You can just shade it by just pushing your pencil forward. I hope I'm clearer now. Just push your pencil forward and it makes it bigger. And now we want to make the wing look like a wing. So we're going to shade around the wing. Where am I at? Right there. Right where his little, let me get that. Make it so you can see it better. You can shade any way you like. You can go up and down, cross hatch. Or you can even do it this way. Go on the side of the pencil. Let me put this right here. Now we'll do the inside of the wing. Make it look three-dimensional. And you can lighten up on the shading. You will just basically not press down as hard. So I'm not pressing down harder as I'm getting to the ends of the wing. But you can see how different it looks from the drawn wing. Also, if you want to use your finger and just blend. You'll get your fingers a little dirty, but then we got to wash our hands a lot during this time, so it doesn't matter. But you can just blend it in with your finger. And that makes a nice looking wing. I'm going to shade a little more at the veins. And now I want to get a little more depth for my wing, so I'm going to go where it curves and put a little shading in there. And then make it look like it's attached. I'm going to put a shading there. I might do a cross hatch. Yes. And then outline it a little more because it was a little too light. Okay, now you see how this wing looks different than the other wing? So, we'll do the other wing now. We'll do the same thing. Let's see. Okay, here we go. Just get the veins of his wing. I'm going to do a cross hatch on this part of the wing. And then I'm going to just shade it like here up and down. Now I'm going to do that thing we did before. Just put it on this side and just shade it so it looks like it has some depth. Okay, I want to get the veins a little bit more pronounced. And now blend it with my finger. There's also blending tools you can get too. Unfortunately, I don't have one on me now. I left it at home. And then we'll do the curve of the wings. We'll get them. Okay. See how he's turning into the other wing? This wing, now the bottom. I'm going to shade a little bit of here. I'll erase some scribblies I made. So we have both his wings that are done. His face that's almost done. I didn't finish putting in the detail on his face. But we'll put a little bit more scales. They're little marks. Made to look like little dragon scales. Let's get some on his neck. Do you see? There we go. I'm going to work a little more on his body. Let's shade right here. We're getting into the details now, which is a lot of shading. And you can use blending, you can use your finger. Now let's work on his tail. The tail's behind the head. I put his tail behind the head because there wasn't like a lot of room on the paper not to. So I'm going to shade it, try to make it look rounder. I think I'll blend it too. And give him little scales on his tail, this part that we're working on. See, there's his tail. I put some scales on his tail, like little spikes. I want to get the neck a little bit darker. So I'm going to shade a little bit harder. We'll blend that. Yeah, blending tool is the one thing that would be great to have. Okay, now the rest of his tail. darker. And I'll shade the bottom half of his tail. Do it in curves as going around his tail. As his tail's round, so I'm going to shade in a curve. Then I want to blend a little bit. Maybe I'll just do a little on the side. Put some of those scales there. So we got the tail. Let's see, that's looking good. Now, if you're finished the legs, we can go on to his front, his chest area. Finish the scales on the neck. Now for his talons. Let's make them a little bit darker on one side, the curving side. Right here, see, we're going to make a thicker line. And right at his claws. We're just going where the curvy part is to make them look rounded, more rounded. And now we're going to work on his feet. Let's make these lines thicker. Make this thicker too. There's curves. We're almost finished him. Let's do it with this one too. And don't get discouraged if you're not happy with your dragon. I'm sure they all look really nice. Now the bottom half, we want a thicker line on his bottom. right here. Let's make that line thicker. And also the rest of his tail, which was, let me erase that. Nice. There we go. Which is back here. I'll shade that in. That's the beginning of the tail, where it starts. I'll put some scales on there. Now let's get some scales on his arms. We'll shade his arms. His hands, or what do you call them, claws. We'll put some scales on there. I don't like the way his one hand turned out, so I'm going to give it a little bit of his curve. And now for his back, we're going to do the same thing. See his back foot? See his foot back there? We're going to take the curve and try to make it look three-dimensional. There we go, and shade a little more under his wing. And put some scales on them. Put the scales. Oh, there we go, see? My hand was hiding some of it. But see how he's coming along? Let's see. And now I want to shade right about here to make him look like he's coming forward. Get his back leg. And there, I think he's almost finished. Now if we want to make him look like he's sitting on something, we shade underneath him. Instead of floating in the air. Of course, he could be on a cloud, too. You can make your dragon sit on a cloud, anything you want to make them. Or flying through the air. It's all up to you. Go to town with it. There we go. So you can see now he's popping out of the page with the shading and the thickening of the lines and the cross hatching. Let's see. There we go. And I think we're about almost finished with this. So here we have the top of his head. And here is, as we're going down the page, the camera is just so big to the end. So I think he's pretty much finished. But if you want to step back and look at your picture. And if you see, you can stand up, look at it, and see what else it needs. Okay, well, I think I'm pretty much finished this dragon. Okay, I think I'd like to do a little more shading around his chest area, where the neck meets the chest. And I want to maybe make this a little darker. Maybe around here I want a little bit darker. Make his head look like it's coming forward. I'll shade it in. I'll blend it in a little bit. So I think he's all finished. And I think we're finished for today. Well, thank you.